There they go into the back. The blue light on. We have a race, and Satnova's beaten Pure Steel out by a length and a half.
Welcome to Talking Trots, hosted by Mortz and Michael Radley on Tab Radio, Racing and Sport.
The sensational Sydney sider Seals to Sam comes off the back straight. He's a bucket load of alliteration, this fellow.
Scott Bomber Hill will join the boys to look at the Friday night meeting at Gloucester Park, and Hayden King will find the winners for the weekend's racing.
Here comes Quinny. I'm the mighty Queen is 4 deep and letting go.
Sit back and enjoy Talking Trots with Mortz and Michael Radley.
I'm the mighty Queen is just in front. Dasher VC can do no more, and the West Australian champion has done it again.
Hello and welcome to another edition of Talking Trots here on Tab Radio. Unfortunately, neither of Michael Radley nor Glen Mortimer with us tonight, but Hayden King with you, and I'm joined by Glen Moore. A very good afternoon to you, Glen.
Yeah, good afternoon, Hayden. Yes, looking forward to tomorrow night's program at Gloucester Park. A number of great events and some very good horses appearing tomorrow night, particularly the Binshaw Pace $50,000 race. Chock full with up-and-coming horses that are going to be pretty relevant into the future at Gloucester Park. Yeah,
and you can just sense it's beginning to build up. We've been deprived of some of our best horses in recent months, but we get to see a couple from the Hall camp back, Jumping Jack, Mac, Diego. And I was just noticing as I was doing the form on the race, we haven't seen them since the Nullarbor. So I think we can begin to see the quality of horse flesh upping in the coming months as we progress towards some of those features.
Yeah, pretty exciting. We've been looking forward to the numbers increasing, and now we're seeing it in front of our very eyes. Bonds are starting to build their numbers up as well. Jumping Jack, Mac, Diego coming back. Vampiro, Query Horse, haven't seen him for a little while either. And then we've got Prince of Pleasure and Steal the Show, obviously drawn the good barriers in that race.
Speaking of top-notch horses, we have a stunning crop of 2-year-old colts and geldings at the moment, and that culminated in the Pearl Classic last Friday night. Really good win by Benemsha, who was able to sweep to conquer there. But it is punctuated by the number of 2-year-olds we have that can perform at that high level. It emphasises how the breed has progressed in the last 5-10 years.
Yeah, fantastic race too. Chock full of interest. Benemsha was the one we pointed out was the knockout horse in the race. God bless it, $21 thereabouts, saluted the judge. I got something there. It was a race that changed very quickly, didn't it, with 10 to the dozen, zapping out and getting the lead. Everything changed, brought Benemsha into the race at that point, favourite being crossed, and then breezing subsequently. Changed everything and brought Benemsha with that paralysing, very strong staying performance too. Late dug in deep and got the money.
And it's only going to get better as well as we build toward the Golden Slipper and other 2-year-old features in the coming months. We've got that $225,000 Westbred race, which is this month. Well, we're still in August, so next month. I think it's September.
Yeah, mid-September. I think it's not a couple of weeks away, I think. Yeah.
Yep.
I can give you a date, see you somewhere. We'll have a look at that in a minute. But yeah, it's looming. It's absolutely looming. Here we go. Give me 1 second, I'll tell you. The 2-year-old colts, 2-year-old fillies, $215,000. And that is the 15th of September.
I feel like I'm watching like Old Mate in the Tab. He's got his tab form littered all across the
desk.
Yeah,
we've got a few little notes here on some of that stuff. But yeah, a couple of weeks away.
OTX, Ascot Park.
A couple of weeks away, we'll see the fillies and the colts race for that $215,000 each.
Yeah, and I tell you what, tomorrow night there's a man with a hot hand, Gary Hall Jr. He's got a book of 10 drives, and you wouldn't discount all of the 10, I don't think, and we're going to have a chat to him in just a moment. But before we do, we're going back to last week. One of our features was the Group 3 August Cup, and it was a race Gary took out with Mighty Ronaldo.
Trying to let go with a run, and back in the centre, battling on Petronas Star, himself the inside, the rest not really in it from Blitz and By and watching our coin. Mighty Ronaldo's doing it comfortably though, down the outside, trying very hard, Prince of Pleasure, in the middle Petronas Star, then himself, and running on late Tenzing Bromac, huge run, but Mighty Ronaldo races home to beat Prince of Pleasure, Tenzing Bromac.
It's a phrase so commonly used in racing. You never know what's going to happen, and anything can happen. Gary, as I say hello to you, I don't think you would have pre-race thought that's how it was going to turn out, but you'd be happy with the result.
Yeah, I was definitely happy with the result. We're a bit lucky on the first bend not to cop any interference ourselves. We managed to just scrape through the inside there, and it was almost Stephen Bradbury-like on the first bend for us.
Nostradamus wouldn't have
wouldn't have seen
guessed
that
it was wouldn't have guessed the outcome of that early part of the race.
No, he would have liked to been on Mighty Ronaldo. No, if you had it known that was going to happen, that's for sure. So,
definitely, no doubt.
I was so adamant that we wouldn't be using him early, and there was no chance he'd be finding the front, off the arm and things like that. But obviously the way things eventuated, as we said, you couldn't envisage that happening. So, but yeah, we'll take it. We get a lot of bad luck out there at times, so we'll take that when it comes.
I think it is a testament to you as a driver that even though you were so against going forward, you eventually had to submit to those inner desires that you had to make it happen, and you weren't stubborn about your decision and remaining back in the field. So I guess it does take some poise to make that decision to go forward. Yeah,
it's something that, you sort of have to learn as a driver. If you can't drive on instinct out there, and split-second decision changing is, it's often the case of winning a lot of races and at times losing ones as well. So, like I said, you take luck when it comes. You have to be prepared at any time to change any sort of pre-race plans that might be in your head. That's for sure. It's just part of racing.
Junior, we saw a stunning return in trials, never ending. Pinjarra home in 26.4. Seemingly did it well within himself, even though it was a walk. You'd expect him to run a quick quarter, but by Jesus, it was impressive, wasn't it, the way he did it? I noticed he had the blinkers on. There's a gear change with blinkers on, but that was on in the trials, right? And I think the boot reign's off as well. Was that exactly the way he's going around tomorrow night from the trial? In terms of, I think the blinkers were there.
My understanding is yes, he'd be going around. It's no secret we've had problems with him at times, hanging and probably over-racing a touch. He's one of those strange ones that just seems to relax a little bit more with the headgear on. I said to Justin when I come in from the trial, I believed it was as good as he felt to me, both steering and the way he settled. I thought it was as good as I've had him go round. I know it was a trial and things are different at the races, but he was pretty respectful when I restrained him early, and again on the bend when he did want to get down a touch, he comes straight back out for me. So pretty excited about getting back behind this bloke. No secret how good he is. So it's always nice to see those sort of horses back at the races.
Starting from the top, Gary, tomorrow night, October Rain has come up very short in the first race. He has pretty good gate speed. Firstly, are you confident of holding the top?
Reasonably, yeah. Michael thought he was a danger of being crossed. I guess probably the only concern would be that start point. It has been a little bit suspect at times lately, but I think now that we've become somewhat accustomed to it as drivers, we're getting him out a little bit better from the inside.
So Ultimate Rocker, maybe Blaze Coops if they decided.
He's a chance even.
He's a chance can come out.
I think he's a chance, and Ultimate Rocker would probably be the quickest too, and Ultimate Rocker is the quickest of the lot, I would say.
Yep.
But I guess if we hold him, we hold everything. So the scratching's a big plus. I thought Paul Ed would be the beneficiary of any early speed, and he would be a really hard horse to hold out late. So the fact that he's out, it goes a long way to, I think, October Rain being able to win the race, that's for sure.
Pretty good last week too, just ran up behind them late, really travelling strongly. So be some confidence there. You think he'd cop a little bit of pressure. If Blaze Coops was outside you, for example, applying some pressure, that would may be the only issue.
Yeah, she's a funny horse. She's shown in the past that when she's got it wrong, like she has lately, that she continues to do that. So obviously that would play into our favour if she was
conservative early, maybe.
Yeah, and was not able to get across. So I just think that the short trip over at Gloucester Park and drawn one. And as you say, he can. I think he can absorb a bit of pressure and still be pretty hard to hold out. So I think he somewhat picks himself, but there is that cloud over him about holding up, which as I say, we've sort of become a little bit aware of that start point now and judging it better as drivers.
For sure. Let it linger. You drove it. Did you drive it when it sat outside Five Bengals? I'm just trying to...
Yeah.
It was you, yeah. You didn't put a lot of pressure on that night outside Five Bengals. It was a sort of a wet night, wasn't it? It turned into a bit of a sprint home. It was a bit of a slugfest late. Let It Linger did start making ground on it, which makes me think it could be vulnerable here, Five Bengals. If it copped a bit of pressure, She's a Bromac maybe out of the gate will have a look, or maybe try and get in behind it. And then you're driving Rock and Roll Sass, which is going to be the benefit. It'll benefit Rock and Roll Sass if that pressure is on. And Beyond the Sea, those type of horses, Miss Lamar also could get involved out of the gate. That lead time might be strong.
Yeah, I thought, I'm not sure what the market is, but I'm assuming Five Bengals is...
Get the market there.
It's $4, Five Bengals.
Oh, okay. Yeah. Yeah, I sort of read the races. There'd be speed from out wide.
Beyond the Sea particularly has gone forward before.
Even Miss Lamar. But She's a Bromac will definitely run the arm. She gets out quite well. Beyond the Sea, probably to a lesser extent, Don't Be Silly Chili. So, yeah, I think, and the beauty of Rock and Roll Sass is if there is any early speed, she can sort of be put into the race early enough after that, and then she'll stay on pretty well. So I wouldn't be frightened to use her from sort of the 1,000 metre mark in this sort of race if there was early speed, and I think she's in good enough form to definitely play a big part in the finish under that scenario.
Do you think she deserves to be favourite then?
She's around $3.
Yeah, well, probably not from the draw.
Probably a touch short. You'd probably get out, I would imagine.
Yeah, I would say she'd drift on that mark, but I can see her winning the race comfortably with normal racing luck. So, maybe $3 after the race might be a good price, but that's all dependent on early speed.
Race number 3, Kimball is drawn gate 3. He's down in grade now, less than $20,000 races, and it really does look his race to lose.
Yeah, I don't know if I'm overconfident or I've just read this wrong, but I thought he probably should be. He probably should almost be odds on.
He's odds on, $1.30 or thereabouts.
Oh, is he?
Yep.
Oh, there you go. Yeah.
Yep. I wish you were framing the markets.
Yeah.
I haven't looked. Yeah, I would have said more like 170, but yeah, I would have got smashed.
Yeah, you would have got smashed on that one.
Glen and I were actually talking off air just before we started, and we agreed that $1.30 was a reasonable price.
Yeah. Okay. Well, there you go.
It sort of looks roll to the front. Outside you, not a heap of pressure. I wouldn't have thought Kimball's a fast beginner. The 2 tripping and the colours, a sit and kick horse going well. But then in mid-race, I can't see anything that want to apply pressure.
No, and he's. I mean, once he's in front too, he can handle pressure anyway as well. Yep. So I know. Speaking to Georgie the other night when he asked me to take the drive on him because I wasn't originally down. Obviously, Stewie was, but he's got his own horse in the race. I was actually on getting wiggy with it. So Georgie was quick to message me when the fields come out, and that's probably a good indication that he's pretty happy with the horse as well. So
been unlucky lately too, been climbing over them. Yeah,
hopefully if I haven't won one by then, he can be the one to get us off the mark.
Yep. Prince of Pleasure drawn the ace, which is good. Would have been a pretty tricky selection depending on the barrier draw. I'd imagine the ones would have swayed you, but gets his opportunity here for sure. Jumping Jack Mac Diego first up, and Vampiro always a query out of the gate. How do you read this situation, and how are the other two going?
Yeah, firstly, the other two both going really well. Really happy with them. Both probably working, equally as good as they were last time in, when they were in pretty good form in the best races we had going at the time. So, Jago's obviously Madison's drive, so I only had the choice between the two. But it was hard to jump off Jack. In a way, he's there's nothing wrong with his work at home. They're both probably, obviously, lacking race fitness, that goes without saying, but both quality horses, so if either of them happen to get over the top of me, wouldn't be surprising at all. good race, compact. Prince gets out really good, so I don't hold any real concerns about him being crossed. And I think he's the sort of horse that just, his confidence in front, he seems to grow a leg a little bit like a lot of them. So, yeah, I thought he'd be reasonably hard to get over the top of if he could hold up.
I don't know if either of you guys can tell me about this. The race is called Senior's Golden Jacket. Can you tell me about that?
No, you won't get a green jacket for golf, golden jacket perhaps.
No, you can keep your green jackets. I don't like green, but gold.
I remember that clearly when you burnt my car to smithereens because it was a green car. And he thought green was unlucky, so the car became undrivable. I had to sell it.
I just figured I'd driven enough winners for you that you could afford a new one.
You're a bad person.
You just needed that push over the edge.
Yeah, that's right. It was gone straight afterwards. Green car, no good.
Hey, and what happened since? You've turned the corner.
Turn the corner, yeah. I can thank you for the lot.
It'd be pretty hard to beat Prince, all things being equal. And Jack and Diego will, everyone knows, the type of horses they are. I'd say Jack's probably marginally in front of Diego purely because of the draw and the run he's probably going to get. But, both working out really well and looking forward to the summer carnival with them.
The Binshaw, you've got You're So Fine, who's graduated rapidly through the classes, took out the marathon recently, a feature. He's looking for another one here tomorrow night. First question, did you think you'd be able to get the front?
I didn't think so when I made my choice, but I was happy enough with the gate. Barrier 2, we're sort of in a position already. Just depends how much we want to use as to how close we stay to them. It was a somewhat difficult choice. Chelpatch, I didn't think I'd ever jump off a horse who went as good as he did last start. He was awesome. It was a race where the leader was rolling along. I wasn't particularly concerned about getting it, but it was doing probably a little bit too much for us, and he just travelled really strongly in the breeze and just never gave me anything but a winning field. So I really like him as a horse and wouldn't be surprised to see him take out this race.
Where's he get to in running? That's the only thing. Well, they ran the three quarters and 28 section, the 3 quarters and 28 and a bit, and he still managed to win. Like he bolted in, didn't he? It was impressive.
He did,
untouched.
Yep.
I don't know how he.
It's the problem, isn't it? Early.
But that was basically the decision behind me picking You're So Fine. Not that there's anything wrong with the way he's going either, but Chelpatch. As I said, I just wouldn't be surprised if he won the race from anywhere. The way he's going, he's a real quality horse. So it's a hard race to work out. I thought obviously a good race as you expect for the money. So. But You're So Fine, there's no problem with the way he's going, and he seems to be coming through the runs really well as well. So, if he was able to work his way to the front, we're all well and good, but I don't think he has to lead to win, that's for sure.
Well, when I was looking at the race, I sort of had a look at he's never really had to show gate speed, but I didn't have any reason that he wouldn't be able to have gate speed. Is that how you feel about it?
Yeah, I feel like he's good enough to hold everything outside him. Yep. I don't think he's quick enough to say that he could cross the one. We know how quick Talks Up a Storm is out the gate. So, if he'd found the front, they would have to be wanting to sit on him, I would have thought. But I think he's quick enough, or I could make him quick enough to hold everything outside him.
Mm-hmm. Well, outside you, of course, watching our coin, which is a quick beginner, it's hardly likely that anything could cross watching our coin.
The only one I thought that might have a crack is Raven Banner. I think it's the fastest of the lot, but then there's a lot of traffic underneath.
A lot of traffic, and watching our coin's quite quick as well as I think You're So Fine myself. He'll come out pretty good. Watching our coin's the one I think would be the shepherd, though.
I thought Raven Banner would be the one, and maybe to a lesser extent Hoppy's Way, but I thought the fact that Raven Banner was there would make Hoppy's Way's decision easier to not press the button off the gate. But it's a hard race. I found it really hard. I'm happy with where You're So Fine's drawn, and he's probably going to go around at a price that I wouldn't even be happy to jump into, even if he'd drawn gate 1, to be honest, just with the overall strength of the field. But like I said, I think he's going easily as good as anything in the race.
Henrik Larsson's going around. He's a horse that's got the ability to win this race, but the right one's got to turn up.
Yeah, he's a hard customer to catch, that's for sure. Back when he was, I think, sort of 4 and 5 runs ago, I thought he was going as good as he could go. And he's just a horse he's one of those horses that just seems to find an excuse every time, or something goes wrong for him in the run. So I think the draw's good for him, and like you say, it's a very winnable race for him on his best form. So yeah, if you've caught him before, you probably should have something on him. But he's a hard horse to sort of talk someone into backing. So, but like I said, if he even at sort of 90% right, he would be a very hard horse to beat in this.
Interesting early Cordero drawn 2. You can imagine they'll try and get it out of the gate as quick as they can. Maybe Have a Go Joe, BJ's Boy, the other one's out wider. Probably this type of race, maybe they can have a look here, which could create a little bit of early pressure.
Yeah, I thought the 1 would be happy to hold up if it could.
Righto, yeah, well.
My first instinct was sit on the 2 if that got there, but then I thought there'd be pressure. I thought Have a Go Joe was the big one. If Naming Lights doesn't come out, then I think it would be a chance to cross Cordero, because Cordero is pretty moderate out of the mobile, so there could be a bit happening.
Dylan on the 1 would indicate maybe you're right about G. Smith. Likes to lead. He might attempt to lead, but if Cordero's there, it's a pretty good horse to sit on. It's going to get a beautiful run, isn't it, G. Smith, if they do that?
Mm.
He just never seems to come out. I mean, it's hard to judge with Cordero because we obviously see him so many times in those races where he's way up in grade and probably way out of his class, and he's just a pegged sort of horse. But in this grade, I think he definitely can be
aggressive
and afford to be driven a lot more positive. That's for sure. But yeah, tricky race. Winner looks well hidden for mine.
Race number 7. Now, this is a good quality race for the less than 25,000s. And you've come up with the pole here, Mr. Fantastic. You've used him up a couple of times recently from behind the mobile. So although he's drawn 1 over 1,700, which is the bit of the trap, you'd probably think he'd do enough to hold up here.
Yeah, I think he will. He's a pretty good beginner, as we seen when he led, I think 4 starts ago when he won. So, yeah, he's good off the arm. I basically stuck with him because of the distance and the draw. I thought if it was 21, he'd be somewhat suspect given the overall strengths of the small field. But I think over the mile, he will carve out a pretty good mile in front. And he's the sort of horse that when he seems to drop the bit and you get him to relax, it's very hard to get him interested again in racing. So I think over the mile he can afford to be revved out the gate, kept on the bit, and then basically just roll from there.
He looks plain, doesn't he, late when he's wide and running home down the straight. He doesn't seem to find the line that well in that scenario.
No, and he's I think it's basically just, he's had a lot of issues along his way, and I think it's just the horse seems pretty intelligent, and he knows when things are going to get tough for him just to basically look after himself. So, Justin says with his work at home, he's for a quarter, he's as good as anything he's got in his stable, basically. And I know he's been a really frustrating horse for him because of the way he works, but that he's no orphan in that regard. There's plenty of them out there. So, but I just think the mile drawn 1, I expect him I'll rev him up and I expect him to lead, and then I think from there he can just make things tough for everything, and I expect him to be able to carve out a pretty solid mile.
I guess the 2, What's Up Sunshine, racing really well, could be the danger if it got clear running.
Yeah, you'd imagine he would fall in behind us early and then, basically try and get his way out later. But it's one of those races, and, just for the way Fantastic races, he might not be able to blast away from him on the bend. Probably wouldn't be wanting to do that anyway. If What's Up Sunshine is there on our back, he is racing really good. So, yeah, tricky race. It's one of those small fields. It's hard to know how to play it.
Difficult, yeah.
Mm.
the draw just sways me towards the one I chose, obviously.
This Trot Marengo Bay ODS is the only query. It's going to be short price. Clearly, it's going really well. Pinjarra took a little while to wind up on the sprint lane, I thought, but sort of got mobile late. Probably not really suited by that sprint lane of Pinjarra either, type of horse he is, with big horse, extravagant action.
Have you done any stand form on him?
Yeah, he has only really made that one bad mistake. I think he's had 4 stands. I'd have to go back and have a look again, but I think there was only one he was pretty bad. The others he was pretty good. I think the ODS will help you just being out there anyway with a horse like him, because he doesn't have to lead to win, I don't think.
No, he's a big horse, and he's on his work at home. He's the sort of horse that they, just as the size of him, will usually lead at home, and they pull off his back and they sort of come at him, and then his last 200 or even his last 100 at home is usually his best. So I expected him to win the other day up the sprint lane, but I can understand why it took him so long to sort of get there. 2 reasons. One, I think the leader goes okay as well, and it got all the favours in front, so it's always hard to run those sort of horses down. But, I think if it was a place where he may have been outside that horse, you probably would have seen a different version of him again. He works really good at home. He's raced a lot against Bromwich at home, and I've sort of tried to draw a line through them both with their form, and I would have a slight leaning towards this guy, just with their manners and ability. I think this horse is...
The breeze wouldn't worry you if you're caught in the breeze, and that case, strength's one of his positives?
Yeah, it looks like it. I think he's got... Melbourne, he's sort of had a lot of races where he's come out wide and from a sit and run on really well, but I think their style of racing that's the way you sort of got to drive them. Whereas here, I think we can afford to be a little bit more aggressive on him, provided we get away well. I wouldn't be too bothered if he was up there outside him, and if he settles for me, I think I like the horse. I think he'll do a really good job over here. So.
Most of the horses underneath you do usually begin pretty fast. If you were outside a horse like That's Not My Gate, you'd probably be running the whole way, which would make it a bit tougher. But if one of the others got there, I guess the breeze is a really good place to be.
Yeah, he could make it hard for us. So could probably a horse like Sky Eagle. But I don't know, like if this horse gets away well and he settles, I think he's from what he's shown us at home, he should be improved off the first up run, and he should be able to just handle that, I would think. If he can't, I've got the wrong idea about him.
Yeah, well, the race after, the 2-year-old fillies, is really interesting because you're on Princess Katie. She seems pretty foolproof so far. All 4 of those inside you have made mistakes in their short careers. So does that mean that you could potentially press the button and try to get a forward position early?
He's thinking outside the box there, I think. I don't...
Well, Michael, the trainer, he actually had a crack at me last Friday. He says, I'm always looking for the underdog story. Well, maybe I'm looking for it again.
Yeah. Well, I suppose the query is Copycat Queen. Hayden will want to get her out quick, but manners have been... Depends how she behaves, I suppose. That's what it comes down to. And whether he's sorted out, has the confidence to really push out of the gate, it's going to be critical.
Yeah, that's the key. I don't know. Princess Katie. She's a funny horse. She hasn't had any luck at all. Her last definitely her last 2 starts. So I think with the right sort of run on the rail somewhere, she's capable of testing some of these. Not all of them, but probably most of them.
The rail being in front, yeah.
Well, in front or anywhere from. Leaders back or 3 back, she can run on.
Obviously, Waterloo might be flying out of the gate as well, of course.
Yeah,
and
but she can follow pace. Princess Katie can follow pace really well and still run on, but she's racing without a lot of luck. She's top 4 player in this, I guess, but I don't think she's a realistic winning chance from that draw.
With the West Bred a couple of weeks away, it'll be interesting to see what they do with Waterloo, whether they charge out or... try to, tuck it in somewhere as well. They've got the options there with her. bearing in mind the $215,000 race in 2 weeks' time.
I'd be surprised if they didn't go forward again.
Yep.
Well, if they didn't go forward again with her, I would say it'd be a decision made at the gate that she wasn't feeling like she wanted to. But otherwise, I think they'd have every intention of just running forward off the gate again.
Yeah, she's quick and good.
Yeah, she is very good.
Never ending. You expect Louis Dior just to take the sit. He's probably not going to worry her greatly. I guess you don't want to just rev up and push to the lead and make a statement in terms of that, but you would imagine they'll probably be getting the lead.
Yeah, he looks like quite a nice type, Louis Dior, but yeah, it's hard to sort of to draw a line through the two horses, but when you look at a horse like Never Ending, he's sort of taking all before him at the moment. So I'd be somewhat surprised if they did want to hold him out. I don't think it'll change any result. Probably the best the horse has ever trialled for me the other day, to be honest. He gave me such a good feel, and it was so pleasing to have him to travel like that early and then finish off like that and do it so easy. Even seeing he was there for the trials, we had one in, and he sort of couldn't stop talking about him after the trials as well. So that's probably pretty hard to do at his age to impress him like that. So he must have looked pretty good from the sidelines as well. So yeah, pretty excited to have him back, and full confidence in the horse and Justin to have him ready first up to perform.
Junior, the other one's coming back, Mr. Smarty, Star Levra. What else is there in the 3-year-old bracket getting ready for the Derby in the next few weeks? It's obviously November, but the lead-ups will be there in October, Western Gateway, etc. Are they back within a month, those horses?
Yeah, the Labra, Star Labra, he will be. He's probably due to start hopping soon. Mr. Smarty's a little bit behind him, probably 2 or 3 weeks behind him. Sky Lou, I think it is. He might be in the Derby betting. He's a couple of weeks ahead of both of those, or probably more like a month ahead of those. He's a horse that I know he's in the betting for the Derby, but he's going to need some racing. So hopefully we can get some good runs under his belt before then and get him sort of used to our way of going. Quite a laid-back sort of horse. Hoping he sort of amps up a bit when he does get to the track, but he gives us a nice feel at home. It's going to be a cracking Derby this year. That goes without saying, but I could have a pretty hard choice on my hands, but the way that horse trialled the other day, Never Ending, definitely firmly in his corner at this stage.
Yeah, I mean, the barrier joys obviously come into it, but the way he's going, it's hard to jump off. Skylord trialled today too. I don't know whether you noticed it. I was
wondering where he was, because obviously he's got that race coming up next week.
Had a nice head out, just came down the outside late. Did duck in a little bit, which is a bit of a habit of Skylord's, but did sprint very nicely up the straight and got up in the last stride, I think, but sprinted home quite quickly. And it'll be probably around the place next week or so.
Yeah, well, he's a horse if he led around Gloucester Park, if Never Ending was able to just comfortably deal with him under that scenario, well then, it could be a long time before he gets beaten. But, he's obviously a very good horse who can run good time, and there's no real chink in his armour. And Mr. Smarty's somewhat the same. I think he's high quality as well. So it's going to be a pretty mouth-watering few months leading up to the Derby, that's for sure. Hopefully they all stay fit and well, and hopefully I'll pick the right one.
And also, sorry, Junior, you're on the Black Flasher too, first up. Obviously, an awkward draw in that scenario with Never Ending possibly leading, unless Louis Dior decide to lead. But how's he going? He's gelded, obviously. Has he turned the corner in terms of attitude and that type of thing since he was gelded?
Yeah, he always used to work good at home, but his work this time in has been equal to that, if not better. Doesn't seem to be sort of, I guess, sulking, I guess you could say, after being gelded, which some of them can tend to do, but he seems to be, all right, seems to still be in good spirits. not many of us would be, but yeah, he seems to be all right.
It wouldn't make any difference for me, Junior.
Yeah, you're asexual. We've come to realise that, but no, he's good. He's working really good. He's another one. He's the sort of horse that leading up to these big 3-year races, he's probably going to be driven like the Sniper. But if horses like Mr. Smarty, Never Ending, and Skylord and those sort of horses did go to war, and he got over the top of them, like he can follow any speed and still kick really well. So, yeah, and he's not weak by any stretch either. So I'm pretty happy with him actually. If Never Ending wasn't in this race, I'd be pretty confident that Flash would be taking it out, to be honest.
Hey, last time we talked to you, we were zoning in on getting toward that 253 marker for the season. Are we still on track?
Well, I don't know. How long's left?
I don't know. You've got 173. What have you got? 4 months. So
31st of December.
That's 80 in 4 months. So you need to get 20 a month.
20 a month?
Yeah.
Huh, is that all?
I think you can do it.
Well, you've got 7 tomorrow night, so that's easy.
We might be in trouble. Yeah, I don't like all the hype around tomorrow night. I've seen a few of the social media posts and all that. I don't. Yeah.
Hayden King started it all.
Yeah, of course he would. Yeah. I'd probably prefer not to think like that about how good a night it's going to be. I think there's a lot of horses there tomorrow night that are obviously only in the market or favourite courtesy of the draw, and they would otherwise be double figures from bad draws. So they're no gimmies, that's for sure. But yeah, we'll take the good draws when we can get them. Hopefully we can make hay while the sun shines.
You better turn your form around. I got a text, Mandurah Country Club today. You were last of 3.
Yeah, well, it's always good to...
Early ripe, early rotten, is it?
Well, be, grounded on a Thursday and then try and shine on Friday. That's my theory.
That's why they named their race Seniors Golden Jacket.
No, I played against Betsy and Stewie, so I mean, there's if I said that I went out there and flogged them 2 at golf, it's it's not like I'm going to get any pats on the back for that. I'd rather just do the honourable thing and let them have the win, and they can pump their chest out and feel good about themselves for a day, and then I'll try and prop myself up tomorrow night.
Very honourable of you. What's your best tomorrow night? Say a couple of them. Try and nail a couple.
Yeah, it's probably have to go with a couple, given
it's a multi.
Multi.
Kimball would be one.
I can't say Kimball, can I?
Yes, you can for a multi. Build up the odds after that. Put him with something.
Yeah, okay. I'll go Kimball. Kimball into Prince into the Trotter.
Okie dokie. All
Okay.
righty.
Hey, just quickly...
Betting it out there too.
Quickly before you go, just looking ahead to Monday, you've got Captain Bly in first time out for the stable. Any report there?
Yeah, what's the field like?
Average. It's a maiden.
Oh, hang on, I'll just look at it.
Yeah, well, he's drawn 7, but it's a pretty, without being disrespectful, it's a limited lineup.
What's the race? Which race?
Race 1.
Race 1, okay.
7 out of 7.
7 out of 7.
Yeah, well, I don't know if they still do the margin betting, but if they do, I'd guess you take maybe 4.5 plus.
Okay.
4.5 metres, all right.
All right.
Hard way to get a quid.
Well, it's better than taking the $1.04, which is going to go around. But yeah, he's. I would trying to draw somewhat of a line through him. I would say he's probably a length and a half behind Blaming on the Night, who won there the other day. So
pretty good form for a maiden.
Mm.
That would be good enough to see him win that, I would say. But he's a little bit. He's got a few quirks as well. So yeah, not making excuses for him, but he should be winning that.
All right.
Catch a Wave, Leap to Fame. Which one do you like?
I think Leap to Fame. But I don't know. I'm a big Catch a Wave fan.
Yeah.
I really am. The problem with Catch a Wave, I think, is if they just get too caught up in getting forward off the gate.
Yep.
And then a horse like Ravishing sort of might bring him undone with it burning forward as well. I'm not saying they couldn't rev Ravishing up for the race, and he, I know it was only a trial the other day, and it's hard to really tell in those small trials, but I think he's 1,000,000 to 1 Ravishing.
On face value he is, unless he jumps out of the ground.
Can't see him winning the race for 2 reasons. One, for all the years that Quinny raced on the Grand Circuit, he was a horse that just had push button speed, and where you put him in the races where he went, he drove like an arrow. You can't be driving like that horse gets around the track and be beating horses like Leap to Fame and Catch a Wave, not to mention the others. So if he won it, I'd be completely shocked. I don't think he can win under any circumstance. It's definitely a 2-horse race.
3-year-olds, pretty good 3-year-olds there, but pretty tricky for them, isn't it, at a young age to go against these?
Well, it's so hard.
Yep.
The 4-year-olds are just so much tougher. Like Hayden, as big and as fit as he looks, if you threw him in the AFL, he'd look like a schoolboy. So,
hey, please. You wouldn't tell the difference. Well, you tell the difference because I've got one slooping shoulder now.
Did you hear about that, Glen?
I heard he got cleaned up.
He dislocated his shoulder, yeah.
Yeah, I went to the hospital again today, and they gave me the surgery as recommended.
Yeah, I think Michael told me the bloke that shirt fronted him and dislocated his shoulder. I think he said he was. I think he said he was either 56 or 57 years old. Yeah.
Well, the same age as you.
You never mentioned that bit.
He played the rest of the game. Hayden went to the emergency room.
All right, we've got to cut him off now. Go home. All right, thanks,
Gary.
Gary.
Hard or go home.
We'll catch you tomorrow night.
See you, mate.
Chance, enjoy.
That's Gary Hall Jr. Well, hopefully he does have a big night tomorrow. He's had 7 before there at Gloucester Park, and, well, they say a champion could become a legend tomorrow night if he becomes the first person to get 8.
Yeah, the mock's gone on.
Yep.
You make it very hard for him now, Hayden, because
I don't believe
everything's got to go right.
I've said on the show before.
I've heard you say that, but unless if it's a reverse mock can work, but I don't know about the mock.
No, the early crow doesn't exist.
Yeah, okay.
We're going to take a break now, Glenn. That was a very long, lingering first segment, but we touched on this race off the top.
Yep.
The Pearl Classic, it became a real coup for the DeCampo stable in the end, but the race was turned on its head from the start when Wave Rider was crossed by 10 to the dozen, who had shown exceptional gate speed previously, and he was a bit fizzy out in front, which just ended up being his undoing, but he did an honourable job running third. But it was Menemsha who, got to get it right, came over the top to sweep and conquer. Grievous was very good in second place.
Yep.
He went to another level. He'd been racing well. And then Wave Rider pulled up with a minor problem. So hopefully we can see his best in the not-too-distant future.
Fantastic effort by the Campo crew to get the Quinella. They're getting good at it, those 2-year-old races. And he's got 2 nice horses to go on with, that's for sure.
Yep. As we go to the break, the Hoist Talk Australia 2-year-old Pearl Classic was taken out by Menemsha.
Big run out wider, and then came Franco Encore. He survived as they corner. Around the bend they run. 10 to the dozen has got the lead. Memenshah is coming down the outside with a really good run, and Grievous is back in the centre. 10 to the dozen. Memenshah the outside, and Grievous coming through. It's a DeCampo Quinella, but Memenshah takes the lead, draws clear, and Memenshah has won. Memenshah has beaten home Grievous.
You are listening to Talking Trots with Mortz and Michael Radley.
Looking the danger to Major Freeway. Forget about My Ultimate Baxter as they corner. Major Freeway has worked his way to the front with Lamandiere getting out and giving chase strongly. Major Freeway's in front. Here's Lamandiere though, cutting it down. Mustangs flying from the tail. Lamandiere in front. Mustangs all over the top though, right down the outside. And Vote brings it with a sizzling run. Mustang has won. Mustang.
Second up in WA, Mustang has flown home to score and did so in fine style there over Lamandiere, who fleetingly looked the winner around the home corner. Did get tangled up slightly with High Price, which didn't aid his course, but Mustang too good, and he did put the runs on the board there in a sense with the marathon the week before, Glen, when he was picking up the pieces late, and he went around a lucrative price last Friday. Looks a bit tougher this Friday though.
Yeah, they ran home slow last week, which look, he did swamp them late, but they did get tired, didn't they? Lamendia had a perfect run, got out, just slightly tightened up the straight and then got clear, looked the winner, and Mustang just mowed them down. Like, it was full of running at the finish anyway, regardless of the last quarter being slow. It still went pretty good, but yeah, it's a visitor's draw tomorrow night.
Yeah, so hopefully he can have a profitable career in the West for Connections. This segment, Glen, brought to us by Bayswater Mazda. Driving is better in a Bayswater Mazda. Make sure you contact the team out there on the corner of Guildford and Garrett Road. Now we're going to have a look at some of these races at Gloucester Park this coming Friday, and we're going to do it with Scott Bomber Hill. How are you, Bomber?
Very well, thanks, Hayden. Yourself?
Yeah, very well. And, well, what's the confidence levels like ahead of this program tomorrow night?
Yeah, well, lots of shorties. They sort of tried to duck and weave and try and find a bit of value around those. But, yeah, we'll see how we go. I found a couple at a reasonable sort of price. So.
You haven't got the football to worry about anyway, mate, so you can move on to 2024.
or even deeper.
I had to dig it in. Sorry about that.
I don't have to worry about 2024 because I have a suspicion I could be waiting a whole lot longer.
Oh, right, okay, that's not good.
Okay, let's have a look at these races tomorrow night. We're going to start off in race number 2, the time-honoured Camel Time Pace over the 21:30, and Tab Touch have it with number 1, 5 Bangles. The 3:20 favourite has already had some admiration there. Number 2, She's a Bromac, 31. 3 is out. 4, Let It Linger, $12. 5, Miss Lamar, $9. 6, Beyond the Sea, $4.20. 7, Don't Be Silly Chili, $41. 8, Dame Valor, $23. 9, Shahadi, $51. 10, Diamond Days, $14. 11, Alta Queen, $23. And 12, Rock and Roll Sass, $2.80. How do we see this one, Bomber?
Yeah, well, I come up with Beyond the Sea. Comes up with a bit of a tricky draw, but she has overcome them before in similar sort of company. It's going to take a pretty good drive from Kyle to get her home, but with any luck, she can be storming late, I thought. She was outpointed by Cyclone Charlotte last time after doing the work to find the top, and she still beat the others pretty comfortably on that occasion, and comes off a sort of 4-week break here into this, and I think she'll just go back off the gate, hopefully get a track home on something like Rock and Roll Sass, and she can be pretty strong late.
There was a quick lead time too that night, so it still did a meritorious job.
Yeah, I thought so.
Early on, what do you see happening? You think it might go back? There is a bit of pace there, isn't there? She's a Bromac, 5 Bangles.
Yeah, well, Glen and I were talking earlier, and we thought she would go forward initially, but you've got her heading back off the arm.
Miss Lamar maybe forward too.
Yeah.
Bomber, is that what you're thinking?
Yeah, well, I thought there was probably 3. Those 3 you mentioned off the gate early. She's a Bromac, probably can't cross the one, but will still come out. And Miss Lamar may have a crack. I just thought it was probably a safer play to go back and try and find the right one home.
I thought She's a Bromac was almost certain to get behind 5 Bangles.
Yeah, Diamond Days may not be able to keep that spot. That's what I thought too.
Yeah.
Which gets it out of the road at least, you know, in terms of the position in the running line. But, yeah, look, you could be right. There's a bit of pace there. So
yep.
We've got either Kyle Harper or Murray Lindor on the Gloucester Park preview tomorrow. One of the two will be on. So it'll be interesting to see, you know, how confident they are with where it's at. It's at a break. But it's certainly got the ability to win the race. There's no doubt about that.
Yeah, she's going to need a few things to go away, obviously.
How many units?
Just the 1 unit, but as I said, she's going to need a bit to go away, but on a night where it was pretty hard to find value, I thought she was a nice enough price. Okay,
move on to race number 3 now. The Coco Zoo and the Animal Pace over the 21:30 goes at 6.18, and number 1 is out. 2, Trooping of the Colour, $10. 3, Kimball, $1.50. So it's out from 1:30 now, Glen. Number 4, One Smart Fella, $14. 5, Amazing American, who you touched on the Stephen Bradbury earlier. That was the reverse Stephen Bradbury for Amazing American. Out to 31 this week in a harder race. 6, Cloud 9, $19. 7, Getting Wiggy With It, $20. 8, Regal Chevelle, $19. 9, Mustang, last week's hero, would be a reluctant victor in the eyes of the punters this week at $7.50. 10, The Kraken, $14. 11, Robbie Easton, $16. And 12, Carrera Mac, $41. How did you see this one?
I thought Trooping of the Colour ticked plenty of boxes as far as running a place when he draws to hold the back of the leader and likely winner in Kimball. Follows speed well, and he did run home 57.2 on the back of the leader here, 2 starts back, which is probably about what Kimball will get home in. So there won't be many of these from the back that'll go much better than that. And he's a dead-set sit sprinter that always goes really well when he finds the pegs, and he looks to get the gun run here, I thought.
Reasonable price too, $1.95. I think that's pretty good value.
Yeah, I thought so. It's as I said, he just has to hold on to that tow rope as long as he can, and 57.2, a couple of runs back says that he's probably in good enough form to do so.
How many units here?
2 units. I'm fairly confident he runs a place.
Okay, sounds good. All right, that brings us to the end of this segment, and give a quick shout out, Glenn, before we go to the break, to the team out there at Retrovision for
Morts.
Glenn Mortimer.
Yep.
I'm sure he's bogged down with work. That's why he's not here tonight, but he's here in spirit. Save an extra 5% every day with Retrovision. Now, as we go to the break, it was good to see this mare back in the winner's circle last week. Wonderful to Fly. Was handed to her on a plate, and she just motored around and did her own thing out in front. But it's good to see her back.
She looked terrific,
showing her
didn't she?
brilliant best. Yeah,
She looked terrific.
Yeah. So as we go to a break, Wonderful to Fly was excellent last week.
Go and look at her go. Racing away, Wonderful to Fly, 12 metres in front of Rock and Roll Sass, 55 Reborn inside My Prayer, and then came Mistiano, Special Lady, American Armour and Miss Lamar, but Wonderful to Fly, she is going to absolutely bolt in. Wonderful to Fly, won by 12 metres. Second home, Rock and Roll Sass, 4 metres away in third.
Talking Trots with Morts and Michael Radley on Tab Radio, Racing and Sport.
29.2, and in front is our Sandy Shore. August Moon is only a metre away on the outside, then Alexandra the Great and Lenny Rose. August Moon has raced up on the outside of our Sandy Shore. August Moon put the nose in front, draws clear now from our Sandy Shore, and Hall will get it home again, flashing home pocket full. Opals into third, but August Moon goes home to win by a metre rush. Sandy Shore second.
Thought I'd better play it while we have Bomber on the line, because we know he is utterly, desperately, wickedly in love with August Moon, and she won virtually untouched there last week, just cruised up and did what she had to. The margin was fine, but the performance was finer.
Easy watch, wasn't it?
Yeah, absolutely. Bomber, you must be happy the way she's been going.
Yeah, she's probably come back better than I even thought she might have, and it looks to have a lot of those races at her mercy at the moment.
Yeah, she's just been dominating and all going well. Hopefully we see her in the Oaks in the not-too-distant future. Moving on now to race number 6 on the card. Where's the Butler Bond pace over the 21.30? And number 1, G. Smith is 750, 2 Cordero, 280, 3 Name in Lights, 14, 4 Brookie's Jet, 81, 5 Habago Joe, 19, 6 BJ's Boys, 650, 7 American Bullet, 950, 8 is out, 9 Simply Shaz, 19, 10 Cooper, 950, and 11 Henrik Larson at 340. Who are we isolating here, Bomber?
Yeah, well, a horse that doesn't win out of turn, but I thought he found the perfect race here, Cordero. Had he drawn 1 here, I would have absolutely declared him in this race, but he comes up with 2, and with G. Smith in 1, I think Danny will probably be happy just to hold a spot early and maybe land 1-1 or 1-2. Bit easier than his most recent assignments. He's run into the likes of Tenzing Bromac, Prince of Pleasure, You're So Fine of late. And he's been consistently breaking 56, and he's strengthened up with age a bit, this little fella, and I think he can sit in the 1 outline and then just use his high speed late against this lot.
Yeah, interesting. I thought Denny would be absolutely kitchen sinking it early to try to get to the front, but you've got her content to be just off the pace.
Yeah, well, I just think it just lessens the chances if she does go all out, and he can begin quick enough, G. Smith, if they want to hold up. I don't think Cordero could cross him, but
no. Yeah,
I'd be happy enough for just to sit in the 1 outline and just try and be dominant with him. He does look better than them, I think.
Yeah, and Dylan on G. Smith, he loves to lead, doesn't he? So when I first looked, I thought Cordero might sort of just push his way there, and they might be happy with G. Smith to take the sit. But when you have a second look, maybe that's not going to happen. So, like you, he's still got either way he could win. Leading he'd win for sure. In the sitting up, he's still a major chance.
Yeah, and I think he's the right price to take that. Take that risk, whether he leads or sits in the, as you say, sits in the 1 outline. I think he can still be too classy.
What are we putting on?
Yeah, 2-unit bet. I think he's the right price for sure. He's like I said, touching $3. His horse doesn't win out of turn. Probably don't want to take a whole lot shorter, but he does look pretty classy.
Okay, last race we're going to look at here on this preview is the Amy and Dak Engaged 2-year-old fillies, race 9 at 9.20 over the 21.30. And number 1 Spice Package is 81. 2 Relatively Armour 26. 3 Copycat Queen 6.50. 4 Grand Coteau $9. 5 Princess Katie $16. 6 Chili Punter 51. 7 Naze Vera $6. 8 San Remo Beach 23. 9 Waterloo $1.32. And 10 The Swindler is $26. How did you see this one?
Yeah, well, I'm hopeful that Hayden's ironed out Copycat Queen's manners. Her raw ability will take her a long way to winning. And I thought Waterloo, while she can cross, she didn't absolutely Shanghai them last time. So there's some speed underneath. Nasa Vera will probably even go forward. And I just thought if Copycat Queen could do it all right, and if she does lob the top, then she's probably an even money chance. So, yeah, I just hope she can do it all right, keep her legs underneath, and she'll give us a great shot.
Good value, $6.50 if that all works out.
So, I just think she's she's got so much ability. Obviously, she's done wrong, but this is a chance if she can keep her feet underneath.
And the cat and mouse at Narrogin between Naso Vera and Copycat Queen made it very difficult for Copycat Queen to make that ground, and did a tremendous job to close in on Naso Vera, which is a very smart horse in itself.
Yeah, that's right. And I think, obviously, Naso Vera, I think, will come out, and that probably could even help help Copycat Queen's chances if she can just hold out Waterloo as well. So, I couldn't come into the price Waterloo, that's for sure.
How many units here?
Yeah, 2-unit bet. I'm reasonably confident. She doesn't have to lead to win, but I thought Hayden's one of the best front-running drivers around, and he does get them off the gate really well. So let's just hope she does pace off the gate and hit the top.
Sounds good. I notice you haven't... Oh, you have got a multi down there. What are we doing there?
Yeah, pretty short one. Race 3, number 3, Kimball, looks to just lead and win. Race 7, number 1, Mr. Fantastic. I thought he would lead and win over the shorter trip. And then race 10, number 1, Louis Dior. I thought he was a really nice place price in a 1-2 only place. But he looks to have the skill set to hold on to Never Ending's tow rope and run a sectional that can get him into second, I think.
I'm actually surprised Never Ending's $1.26 on Tab Touch. There's been money for Louis Dior. I'm not sure if it's just place money or win money, but...
It's a bit, it's a bit strange. It's a bit surprised myself that that's an offer.
Yeah.
So the shortening...
$1.26 is a nice price, isn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah. And where's the money, though? So why is it that price?
I don't know. But anyway, that's race 3, number 3, Kimball, into race 7, number 1, Mr. Fantastic, 10-1, Louis Dior, a place.
Into $1.18, Never Ending.
Just like that.
Yep.
Whack. Okay.
Yep.
So that's $2.51 for that multi.
We'll take that.
Hang on. You can get a better price now because Louis just gone out. Well, it's $2.62 now.
That's all right.
Even better.
In the night.
All right. Thanks, Bomber. We look forward to catching up with you again next week.
Great to catch up, Bomber.
Thanks, guys. Have a great night and good luck tomorrow night, Glen.
Cheers, mate.
That's Bomber. He'll hopefully some winners there among them at headquarters. This segment, Glenn, brought to us by Loans 123. If you're ever in a spot of bother.
Yeah, let's hope we don't need them after tomorrow night.
No.
They're very reliable, though, they tell me, so they're always there.
Get in contact with Stevie Sell. 1-800 100 100. Very easy to remember. Even I've remembered it, committed it to memory. Okay, we're going to go to the break now, and I thought it'd be remiss to not talk about this one, Glenn, because I like the style of this horse. I like the cut of his jib, blame it on the night. He won with something in hand, as he should in that kind of lineup, but his action was really impressive. It was an elegant showing there, in spite of the early mistake in the previous attempt at the start. But after that, it was a very assured display, and he might have a glimmer of hope to reach a higher level here in the West.
Yeah, look, there was a horse that had its problems in New Zealand. The owner sent it over, and a bit of sorting out to do when they got it here, but pleasantly surprised it's coming through quite nicely now, and starting to pick up the system at Halls, and it's progressing in the right direction. Obviously, it's one of those ones that'll be getting ready for these big races and pushing in the right direction, that's for sure.
Yep. So on Monday, let's go back and blame it on the night. Made it 1 from 1 in the West.
The Mighty Warrior, St. Patra 3D part revival. The Boatster getting to the outside from Just Rock, but into the straight. Blame it on the night, leading a length and a half over Elephant Rock. Then comes Devil's Courage back in third. The Mighty Warrior, St. Patra, the Boatster running on out wider, but he's breaking away from them late. Blame it on the night. And Blame it on the night wins by 2.5 to 3 lengths Elephant Rock. The Boatster.
You are listening to Talking Trots with Mortz and Michael Radley.
Still lifting the inside, and they're well clear of Disco Far and Make It Happen in the straight. Beat City, Street Hawk the outside. Beat City the inside, comes back hard though. Beat City regains the lead from Street Hawk. Beat City, Street Hawk, nose for nose. Beat City's in front of Street Hawk, and Beat City has won by half head to Street Hawk. Make it a short head, and they were about 10 metres.
What a pulsating duel that was between Beat City and Street Hawk, just smashing it out. A real war for the last 600 metres. Street Hawk gained the ascendancy. Beat City came back on it. Street Hawk poked the nose in front again, but Beat City has the last laugh, and it will be his last laugh tomorrow night at Gloucester Park. He's going back over east after
I hear that.
tomorrow night. So
it's won 3 in a row, 3 in a week, or
2
in a week.
It'll be 3 if he wins tomorrow.
3 tomorrow night. But that's a good going away present for the owners to take it back over there. And clearly that was a war of attrition. And looking at the markets, they backed both horses. Both horses were well supported. The market seemed to fluctuate a bit. Yeah. So at the end of the day, there was one happy winner, but the bookies would have been happy with both the punters being on both and hoping for something else to roll over the top, but that didn't eventuate. Of course, those 2 horses had clear class edge on the rest of them, and it was a fantastic race. Bone crusher, our Waverley Star.
Yeah, it really was like a chess match. The back and forth exchange between Madison Brown and Denny Roberts. They were like 2 titans in the ring there.
They wanted it.
Yeah, desperate for it, but Beat City emerges on top. Best of luck to him tomorrow night at his WA Swan Song. He's been a great earner for Connections.
Certainly has.
Even like in the last few months, he would have earned, well, this season he's earned 36,000, and he was off the scene for the first half of the year, so he's done a super job.
Kept earning all the way through, even if he didn't win, he was still earning.
Yeah. This segment, Glen, is brought to us by Steel Blue Boots.
Beautiful.
Made for comfort, or built for comfort, made for work. Contact Steel Blue Boots to get some footwear on your feet.
And they are everywhere. Everywhere you look around, people walking around the street, they get them on.
Yep. Okay, we're going to have a look at the weekend ahead of racing tomorrow night. A few things to mention. Firstly, Wagen tomorrow night. Nice little card there. Best of luck to Toby Lynn, who's having his first race drives. He's got a couple of chances there according to the betting. He's got Roger James going around. Better My Dreams draws the pole. Might even be favourite. Then Ideal Secret later on. So safe travels to Toby.
Yeah, look, it's great to see Toby starting out tomorrow night, and wish him the best of luck. And we need a few more of these juniors coming through. It's great to see that he's joined the ranks.
Absolutely. And then on Saturday night at Northam, Trots going up into the Avon. There are a few horses of interest. Frisky Sticks goes around first time out for Ryan Bell. This horse has had 2 starts in New Zealand for 2 wins and has rated okay time there as well. Others later on in the program that caught my eye. Star Casino, first time out for Ray Williams from New Zealand. Had a pretty good record over there. Son of Better's Delight. He's a 4-year-old now. And then after that, race number 6, El Casanova. It's been a horse that's been maligned by troubles. He was with Robbie Williams and then Michael Grantham, and now finds his way into the care of Gary Sayers. Obviously, the Pikes impressed by the way that Gary's handled Sea Ryan Fly for the last 6 months or so, and he's got hold of El Casanova.
Yeah, really good horse, El Casanova.
When he's on,
When he's on, but he's obviously had some issues, but when was it? October 2022. So it's getting on 11 months now.
Yeah. Well, even going back nearly 2 years ago, when he won that race at Gloucester Park, must have been 2 or 3 years. No, it was 2 years ago, because I was there, and Michael Grantham was really impressed by this horse and taken. And so clearly he's just had his share of issues, but he he's blessed with a lot of talent.
Absolutely. He's on an easy mark, so let's hope he stays sound and comes back. Like if you look, the one race there, Williams D's Legacy beat him. El Casanova second, Ardent's Horizon third. That's pretty solid form. A horse with a lot of ability, that's for sure.
Even before or after that, he's taken some good scalps, because after that he beat High Price, Ardent's Horizon, and beat the Bank.
Yep.
A city class performer, a feature race performer, and beat the Bank, who's just the most consistent of horses you'll ever find. So, yeah.
Worth tuning into Northam. There's some nice horses that will find out a bit about them for the future. That's for sure.
In terms of some bets I think we could have, I'll be at Gloucester Park doing the Sky tomorrow night, so
that's good.
Hopefully I can find some winners out there. In terms of early value though, I thought Miss Lamar was a big price in race number 2, double figures, because she was a fast finishing third in the Higgins, and then her next two, she's had absolutely zero luck. She's settled last and she's never got into the race, so completely forgive those. Down in grade now, she'll go close in the second race with any luck.
And she was travelling, even though she ran last, she was travelling very strongly.
Yep. Later on as well, race number 6, we've talked about this race a lot, the early battle for the lead, and I touched on it earlier. I thought Have a Go Joe could have a crack for the front. If Naaman Lights didn't pursue the early lead, he could get that run down at Cordero, who is a notably steady beginner, and G. Smith on the inside. His form's pretty good, Have a Go Joe. He
was crying out to lead, isn't it? It loves being up on the pace. And
if he leads, put it this way, his price is, you move the decimal point. He's $1.60, not 16. So, he'd be worth having something on. And
good value if that happens.
Even later on in the program, I guess you could do a multi or something. But I thought the interesting race of the night is the Trot, where you've got the battle between That's Not My Gate if she leads, between she and Marengo Bay, who looks pretty smart. And then you've got the other pace angles from behind the tape. Sky Eagle really rockets out, but so can Tumani. Abundance is pretty good. Chicago H has been stepping well lately, so that's going to be a perplexing race, the Trot.
Well, it's always tricky, the $1.50 ODS horse, but we've seen the abilities there. It's just Junior very confident about it. Just needs to get the first bit right, of course. That's the only apprehension there from Junior, but provided all that happens, he seems confident. But as you say, if That's My Gate led, Hayden will probably roll along and try and test Ringo Bay's staying ability.
Well, that's what she's got. She's got stamina that's seemingly bottomless. That's Not My Gate. She can run and run and run. What she lacks for high speed, she makes up with in endurance. So it'll be a really good tussle between the two if she does find the lead.
The other race that, get your opinion on it, we'll be covering extensively tomorrow morning. Kyle Harper probably be on, or Murray Linder, one of the two, to chat about how Talks Up a Storm's going. It's the key to the race and a very important interview tomorrow morning. Gloucester Park preview.
I'm confident he'll sit.
You are?
Without knowing anything, but there was an occasion where he sat leaders back behind Armour Einstein 3 runs ago, and he didn't hold the back of Armour Einstein. He's first up, and I really liked him last start, Talks Up a Storm, and maybe there was an issue because he was put away after the contest. But firstly, I thought he'd lead, and then he was lethargic on the run to the gate. And then when he said a 1-1, I thought this is actually better. He'll still win.
Yep.
And he just offered nothing.
Murray wasn't happy, obviously, tipped him out straight away.
Yeah. So, well, when he's on the top of his game, we know he's a super horse with an abundance of gate speed. That was shown even 2 starts ago. The run before that, he set off the pace and won in 154.4, an extremely versatile type. But I think he will sit tomorrow night, and Gary seems confident that he's got the speed to hold those outside with You're So Fine, so I'd expect You're So Fine to lead and win under those circumstances.
Yeah, as we've referred to, Raven Banner gate speed, Shell Patch undeniable ability, Watch Our Coins still also quite quick out, so it could be a little bit on early there. You're So Fine might just keep kicking through maybe. If they all go too hard, then you've got El Capone, So Dow Jones, Goodfellas, those back markers there that will be benefited by that. And those 3 horses, El Capone, So Dow Jones, Goodfellas, they're all going really well. Horses drawn out wide, I don't know where they get to, Hoppy's Way, etc. Got the ability, but it's a very awkward draw.
Yeah, he has gate speed, but I thought the same as Junior, whereas you've got a horse like Raven Banner drawn underneath, that might be enough of a deterrent to fend him back.
Kevin Keys made a comment to King Casellas or Tim Walker maybe that this is a likely one to go back with Hoppy's Way, this particular race.
Yeah, I do think the most interesting one is Raven Banner.
Well, he's got the speed, but this is a pretty fast line.
Yeah.
And whether Bonds want to use him up here, it's very deep. And look, they might just attempt to do that, of course, but I think they also might look at it and think the last start they bailed out pretty quickly.
Yep.
Because there was plenty of speed there, blitz and by and all that. They got a couple underneath them here. They might just think it's
another soft run and
bridge
wait
too
for the
far.
barrier.
Yeah, look, it's certainly got the ability, but that is not a decent draw.
Yep. All right, I think that just about does us, Glenn.
That's good. Yeah, no, it's great to be back. And Mort's in Rads and yourself will be back next week. We'll look forward to that. And hopefully plenty of winners for the punters.
Yeah, hopefully we've found something. If we haven't, then hopefully I can find you something tomorrow night out there at Gloucester Park. Thanks for coming along.
Look forward to that. I think Justin Prentice is on tomorrow morning as well.
Okay. All the best, Glenn.
Cheers.
And to everyone listening, thank you for tuning in. I'm sure Mortson Radley will be back next week, but that does it for another edition of Talking Trots.